This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia with a tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sankeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia with another tip for me. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. Thank you, studio audience. And boy, do we have a good show today. And so I have a real good friend of mine, and what's amazing about her is she's throwing in her name for consideration for one of the Commissioner's Court, and we'll talk all about that in a moment. But really, to me, I know her as one of the best, most amazing entrepreneurs in the Houston area. And that's, of course, Miss Raquel Boujourne. Did I say that? Did I say it with a little feeling?
You did. I loved it. Yeah, I love the Latin flavor. Yes,
but actually,
yes.
you know, to me, she's Raquel.
Yes.
And you know what? I really mean it when I say this. When I think about you, you really built and ran one of the most successful engineering firms in the whole city, if not the whole county, if not the whole state. And so I really congratulate you. And for you to say, you know what, I've had some success. It's now time for me to give back. And what's the best way to give back as you survey the landscape? I think I'm going to run for office because I want to make things better.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes, we deserve better. And I've been very fortunate, as you know, as a business owner.
Yep.
To build a business is not easy.
Yep.
We started with 2 nickels to my name. I did it 16 years ago from the ground up, was not afraid to pick up a shovel, went out there, knocked on doors, tried to get business. And organically, I think when you do a good job, best marketing tool is word of mouth. And our business just grew. And thanks be to God, we were very recognized as, we were on the Cougar 100 and one of the fastest growing firms. One of the, most recognized, I was recognized by Good Morning America as a small business woman hero.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you say it so nonchalantly, but in reality, that's huge.
Oh, that's huge.
It's
massive.
It's massive.
And it doesn't, it's literally like to get to the top 1%. That was kind of my whole mission was to be able to build with purpose. And I think when you build with purpose, you start understanding that it organically will just grow in itself. And so it taught me a lot of the skills needed considerably for a position such as commissioner, because they oversee infrastructure and drainage.
That's right.
And as a woman who has built roads, bridges, and schools, managing multi-million-dollar budgets, holding people accountable, those are all things that I feel like have been missing for a really long time. And specifically, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be getting into politics. That was never the goal for me. I was on this trajectory to become nationally, internationally recognized, and then I woke up and saw how broken our community was, witnessed a child from the 77023 zip code disappear through our nonprofit outreach that we were really focused on helping at-risk youth. And then I couldn't sleep at night. With all of the awards, you get the trophies, you get the recognition, you get the applause. And I love people, and that's how we started our business. It was because we loved being able to build communities and giving back and creating jobs and helping people grow in their careers, helping our youth. And then I thought, I really prayed on it for months and months, and I thought, okay, I am going to sacrifice this job that I love as chief executive officer, step down so that I could focus on running for this position. People thought I was crazy because I could literally be on a beach having pineapples and
pina
coconuts.
colada. Yeah, you could have pina colada.
But that's not, being a woman of faith, that's not what we're called to do. And so here I am, and it's been a journey, but at the same time, I can already see a difference of governance even at the court level, in the sense that people are finally listening and people are finally starting to step up and fight and speak out, because we're exhausted. We're tired of these career politicians that say they're going to do things, and that's all they do is they talk, they show up, they need the applause for ego. but they don't do anything for the community. And I, as a, as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to be brave and do things that other people are not willing to do in order to rise. And I have every confidence that we will win because of that, because this is a people-powered campaign, and it is all about them, and it has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with, the glory of luncheons and the recognitions. It's like, I earned that.
Right.
I earned that already, but my resume speaks to it.
Well, I want to go back to that resume you're talking about. First of all, you grew up where? Kennedy, Texas?
So my family was actually from Kennedy, Texas.
Okay.
They were cotton pickers.
Yep.
And it kind of drives me crazy when I hear about, people who pick cotton or looked frowned upon. But my family made a living on that. My grandparents did. My great-grandparents did. And then my grandfather joined the Army, became an airborne ranger in the Army. And he moved to the East End. And so I grew up around the Southeast Fuquay area. He started his life right there off of Navigation near Telephone Road, and then he wanted the best for his girls. Nobody had ever gone to college. I was the first one ever in the family to
Wow,
graduate and get a
touche.
college degree. And so I feel like, part of breaking the generational chains of poverty, education is critical. But construction was the best opportunity. And I guess the unexpected, because I didn't dream of being a builder. You dream of just, being able to take care of your family and being able to put food on the table without having to worry about it month to month, like so many people still are. And so, Precinct 2 has been my heart. I've lived here my whole life, grew up here. My family's from here, the roots are from here, and it matters to me because I see my younger self in so many of these kids that are still struggling. And I'm not seeing enough leadership in action,
Hold that thought. We're going to talk about leadership in action. I want to go back a little bit, too, about your youth when you were growing up. But we have a caller already. Is there Ruby on the line?
Hi. Hey, Gilbert. How are you?
Ruby, you got me, a tip for me, talk, inspiration, and prayer. And I'm talking to, of course, one of our Commissioner Court candidates, Miss Raquel Boujourne. And so, Ruby, what do you got for Raquel today?
Well, first, hello, Commissioner. So great to have you on the show today. First, just wanted to wish everyone a wonderful Martin Luther King Day, because I think it's very memorable and very, with today's environment, I think it's very critical for us to take a step back about everything he did and what he stood for, as things are very challenging for us. But when I got connected, I was listening to your background. I think we grew up in the same neighborhood. I'm also from the southeast side of town, and it's so wonderful to hear your experience and your background, and being a woman of color, to have such great success. So I just wanted to reach out and congratulate you on everything that you have done, and just wanted to say hello.
Well, Ruby, thank you for that. Of course, I know Raquel because the business world, and I got to just say, if you don't mind me saying, Raquel, is when you think about the engineering universe, you think about it as, sort of a man's world, and, build beer drinking guys, and the, roughnecks and the hard hats. And, when you see you just don't fit that description. But I'm sure you're tough as nails out there, because you have to be in this environment, in that industry, to build a business and to keep it going.
Yeah. And I think so many times, especially in the construction world, there's this thought that, of course, women are, I'm very feminine. Like, I love my hot pink hard hat. I love to get dressed up, but I'm also not afraid to pick up the shovel and operate machinery. And I respect the men and women that work out in the field every single day. It is hard work, but hard work is good work. It's the best kind of work. And I've seen people lead very successful lives their whole life working in construction. And I didn't have a lot of people that are in construction, maybe they're second generation or third generation builders. I didn't have that. So I had to go off of the guidance of the guys in the field, not be afraid of learning and And they gave me fair opportunity in that. Many times unexpectedly, I thought I was going to be, treated differently because of being a woman. But many times, surprisingly, they wanted to help. They were like, wow, this is so interesting and different. And thank you for honoring us in a way and wanting to get involved, because there's so many different things in the construction industry that you can do.
Well, let me ask you this, and Ruby, don't leave yet. Where did you go to high school?
So I actually graduated through like a homeschooling, first one from the Texas Tech University high school program. It was remote, but I ended up going to a lot of different schools. I also went to high school at Clearbrook High School, and prior to that, I was in the Pasadena ISD, and then I also was at HISD Elementary School. My mom had to move actually quite often, every 6 months. I understand the feeling of hunger in the stomach. Like, we literally, she was a single mom for many years and just worked 2-3 jobs, did whatever it took to break that cycle. And I'm very grateful for my mom for that. And then my stepfather, came around in middle school, and it just, they've been such a blessing and supportive in this journey. And she always taught me, like, you have to be able to give back. There's always enough at the table to share with others, and I think that's what it's about. And Martin Luther King, he says, one of his quotes, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And I think so many times we see these elected officials speaking about it, but the reality is that Commissioner's Court, we're responsible for setting the tax rate, property taxes. And you cannot say that you care about the poor and yet tax them out of their homes. You cannot say that you care about the children and the people and yet have allowed crime to get out of control to the point of where, just like that incident that happened earlier this month where that woman died on the Metro bus, from a repeat offender who had been out on a PR bond. And these are things that commissioners should be focused on correcting. And I think that a lot of us have been lied to for so many years, and I have been very active at the court, just understanding the frustration and realizing that if we don't get the right leadership there, we're in trouble as a county. So I feel like it was my moral obligation to do this, and I am so prayerful about it, but very intentional, and that the work actually starts every single day. It doesn't wait until we get to the finish line. Like, I have been very active, as you know, in the community. I always say,
for a long time.
Yeah, you don't have to wait to do the right thing. Do the right thing today. And again, like, we're in election season. You'll hear some people say, I'm so exhausted because I don't know who to believe. They all give a really good pitch. And my advice to them is to say, okay, look at the resume. Look at the actions that have taken. Have any of these people that are running, when you think about who you're going to vote for, what is in their resume that they can say, I said what I was going, I did what I said I was going to do. And we are in this broken cycle of these electeds that they don't do what they say. They just don't. So here I am.
Well, okay, now, you went to U of H.
Yes, graduated from Bauer College of Business. And
where did you go as an undergrad?
I actually, San Jacinto Community College is where I started, and I transferred and got my bachelor's degree from University of Houston in business. Wonderful,
wonderful. So, Ruby, you got anything else for Raquel?
Well, I just want to again congratulate you. There's something uplifting about having women in positions of power. I think we think a little differently, and we really know how to multitask, and we will get things done. So thank you again for everything you've done. But
Thank you, Ruby.
I heard you say that you have a degree in engineering. And, that's interesting because my daughter is also in the engineering program at Texas A&M. Now, I'm in the money management business, and I know all the things that we do for the next generation, right, of youth, especially women and people of color. Do you have any guidance or any recommendations on what women currently that are studying engineering can do to kind of give them a step forward once they graduate? Are there any big internship programs that you can recommend for them, or just thoughts on what steps they should take to hopefully put them in the right path to have the success you had.
Ruby, thank you so much for calling in. So Raquel,
Yeah.
what do you think? What can we do? You as a former employer, or what can these young women? What do you tell them about? Don't give up and don't worry. The cream rises. I mean, what inspiration do you give them?
I say we have to stop putting ourselves in a box because the limit is beyond the sky. Hard work is the best work. Definitely join organizations where there are other individuals who are pursuing, construction or engineering. Get really familiar with going to the networking events, meeting the guys who are in the procurement who are looking for, new small businesses. I think actually Metro is a great example of small business certification programs. It's never too soon to really get active and involved in understanding, how can I build those relationships? Because in any business, specifically when it comes to building and construction, engineering, it's really important for you to get a business card. Get some business cards, go out there, get a digital one, and just start introducing yourself. And you would be surprised, especially executives, they love that. They love that they're looking for the people that are ambitious and go-getters. All of the other stuff is just a plus. The fact that, I get to be the chief executive officer. I don't know how many rooms I've been in around the boardroom table, and I may be the only woman, but, at the end of the day, I actually, it's been a great experience. It's starting to become more normal. I don't want to say like 15, 16 years ago was a much different industry than what it is now, but there's actually so many women that have joined engineering and construction. And so I think it's great. I mean, I think we are awesome. I mean, I'd be silly to say that I wasn't. I mean, I am a woman, so.
You are, you've got that confidence of bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
The limit is beyond the sky.
I know we have another caller, but I did see somebody. Was there a Natalie or some that sent an email? I just saw her emails. I thought I saw Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Where was that?
Go Cougs.
And I think she said something about Go Cougs. So Natalie, if you're listening, well, go Cougs. And she also wrote, it's so wonderful seeing other women in typical male-dominated fields. Touche. Thank you. That's not Natalie. That's Natalia. Natalia, thank you for that. So I want to go back for one more second before we get this caller. So there's Yvette that's going to come in a second here. So Raquel, when you were there as an undergrad, at what point did you say, because it's a big leap, in my opinion, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be my own boss. I'm going to go out and start a business because being an entrepreneur is the greatest feeling. But then, of course, it has the greatest rewards, but a lot of the risk.
Yeah.
And you really have to have it in you to be an entrepreneur. And, I've been one all my life, and it took me 1 or 2 times before I, quote unquote, had some success. So tell me, when did you get the bug?
Well, it started from a need. My husband, my then boyfriend, who's my husband, we've been together 22 years, needed another job, and we were just determined we were going to break this, cycle of poverty. I didn't even graduate before we started the organization. It was just like, hey, what else do you know how to do outside of your 8 to 5? Maybe we can, pick up some weekend jobs or weekend shift. And he goes, well, I was a builder in high school. I helped a guy build cabinets and I poured concrete. I said, great. And that's the great thing about the state of Texas is you can start a business today, go online, and you can, start tomorrow. And so that's kind of what I did. I just went online and filed for the tax identification number, picked a name, and then ran with it. And back then, I want to say 16 years ago, almost 17 now, entrepreneurship was not the cool thing. Like, it was like, is that even a real job?
Yeah.
We don't know.
I totally get it.
I don't really, what are you doing? And everybody I remember was telling me this is crazy. I don't think you should do this. But within 3 months, we were able to get a commercial project because it was just like filling the need. I went to an area, it was in the southwest side of town. It had been abandoned 1 year after Ike in 2009. They still had tarps on the roofs, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to stop by there and see what's going on. And I did that on a lot of properties that had tarp. A blue tarp was an indication of, okay, well, they need some help in construction.
Yep.
Let me find out what's going on. And it was just, answering the call, and she was shocked. She was like, okay, well, if I can it was an insurance claim that she had trouble getting with. And I said, okay, if I can help you figure out how to get the claim done. I went to adjuster school that weekend to learn how to read an insurance contract,
Yep.
figure out how to file the claim. Then you're going to give me the work, right? And it was an old school handshake thing. Didn't know anything about contracts back then. Thank God nobody got injured, and I
Yep.
didn't have to deal with any lawsuits. I had nothing to lose, I guess, at that time anyway.
Yep.
And that's kind of how we grew from there. And so, she had a need. I was able to figure it out and help and file the claim, and then we were in business.
How wonderful. What a great story. Let's go to that Yvette. Was there an Yvette there? Yes. Yvette,
Yes, hi Gilbert.
hopefully you can hear me. You're a little light on the volume there, but that's okay. You got me, Gilbert Garcia, with a tip for me, talk, inspiration, and prayer with Commissioner Court candidate Raquel Boujourne. What do you got for us?
Yes, so nice to meet you, Raquel. And happy Martin Luther King to everyone out there. Today we celebrate Dr. King's legacy of service and protecting our communities. And with that, my husband's a Houston firefighter, and, they go out, all the firefighters go out every day on the front lines. And I saw a big accident last night. I saw them all hard at work. But when my husband comes home, he's saying, there's facing longer response times, the staffing shortages, aging equipment. Just curious on your take on it as you move forward with being a candidate for county commissioner, and what your thoughts are.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you to your husband for signing up and serving because, by the way, I got the Houston Professional Firefighters Association endorsement.
Oh, how wonderful.
And I am a big advocate for firefighters and law enforcement, and I think that we have to do everything that we can to work on the budget to make sure that they have the resources that they need in order to do, I think, one of the most important jobs. When there is an emergency such as a fire, the first response that we do, we call 911, and they send out people like your husband to come to the rescue and to mitigate, this crisis. And so I think it's so important. I talk about public safety all the time. I think for too long they haven't had the support or the resources. There's been a lot of talk, like I said, but until recent we really haven't seen, and I want to say like the last year, we haven't seen very many local elected leaders actually step up and say, you know what, this is wrong. We've got to, stop spending our money here, or why are we so over here? Every cent has to be justified, but there is 100,000% justification when it comes to supporting public servants such as firefighters and law enforcement agencies to make sure that they have what they need to do their job. So again, thank you so much to your husband. I hope to meet him one day, maybe. And and I think that it's important that we put public safety at the top of importance when it comes to budgeting and support.
Wonderful. Yvette, you got any other questions there for Ms. Raquel?
No, I appreciate your response, and I'm looking forward to maybe making the connection between you and my husband to get maybe some more answers that he might have. Maybe we could set that up sometime in the future.
Yeah, would love that.
Miss Yvette, thank you for calling in.
Okay, wonderful. Have a wonderful day.
Wonderful to you. Let's go on. We have another caller. Before we go to that caller, Martin Luther King, again, I used to always play some of his great speeches. And, of course, it's not just the speech, the I Have a Dream, but some of the other speeches are so incredible. And then, of course, the copyrights, with Facebook and all those things kind of shut us down. But so many incredible things that he said. And I think if he were alive today, I can only imagine what he would be saying about, get involved.
Yeah.
Everybody get involved. Register to vote. And everyone knows, of course, I'm a Democrat, but at the end of the day, there's good people on all sides. And, of course, I had Tom Ramsey on my show, and Tom Ramsey is one of the finest gentlemen I know, and he's a member of the Commission of Courts, and he's a Republican. And he's just a great public servant.
Yeah.
And so let's go to that question, though. We have another question. Is there a Natalia there?
Hi, Gilbert. I'm here. I have a question for Miss Raquel.
Are you the Natalia that was a Coug?
Yes, I was a Coug.
No way! No way! I got to practice that. Am I doing it right?
Yes.
Am I doing it right?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Go, Natalia. It's all you. Go.
So I see that you and your husband founded the Boujourne Foundation, and you provided over 100,000 meals across Houston. Could you talk a little bit about how people in the community could give back to that? Like, can we volunteer?
Yes.
Could we donate somewhere?
Oh, thank you.
What a great
That's great.
question.
Yes. So 3 years ago, we started the Boujourne Foundation. It actually almost 4 years ago now. It started just because we got a call to our company to underwrite a graduation party. And they just asked me to donate for pizzas. And then I said, well, are we going to actually have a party or what's the plan? And they're like, no, we don't have a budget for that. And I said, well, that's ridiculous. We have to do more than that. These kids at Yolanda Black Navarro, that's in the East End, I want them to have a whole celebration. And so we kind of became like the PTA parents for this whole school. And then it kind of expanded. And then we started to facilitate food pantries throughout the greater Houston area. And a lot of that actually started, as far as the food pantries and the facilitation, started through a program called Leadership Houston. I'm an alumni of that.
Oh, what class are you?
Yeah, I am 41. Best class ever. So, yeah.
You know what the best class ever is?
Yeah.
10.
Oh, no.
I was class 10. Of course, I was only 7 years old when I was a member.
Yeah.
But I was class 10.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I just carried they adopted the school to renovate the food pantry, and we volunteered. We were already volunteers and very active on the campus, and then it just kind of spread where there was recognition that there was other campuses that needed assistance with volunteering. So please go to the website, the Boujourne Foundation. .com. You can actually reach out that way. You can actually donate on the website. There's an email there. If you email us, we will get back with you and give you the dates of when the next food pantry facilitations will take place. But it became more than that. We also, we've helped families that lost everything in a fire. We've helped when they needed jackets, or we've helped, children in cases that are in foster care and they don't have anybody for the holidays, or they don't have parents, or maybe they're not even in foster care. There was a group home where they were waiting for their foster parents. And so to me, like, the kids have always been, they're our future. They're a part of, why I'm doing this, because I feel like there's not enough advocacy and fighters that are doing things on their behalf. And it's so important that we do better. We deserve better. The kids are not getting what they need in order to succeed. And so that was kind of why the Boujourne Foundation was made. And it's been definitely a labor of love, but it's one of the most fulfilling roles that I get to be a part of.
Well, hold that thought for a second. I know we have two other callers. Don't leave Elaine and don't leave Connie. Because before we go to those two calls, and I know we've got all those people saying all these comments, is I wanted to play one of your clips. Let's go to that first one. I think it's the one about wasteful spending.
Oh, yes.
I want to do that one, and I want you to just comment on it. Let's play it and comment about it, and how you felt about it, and what really motivated you, etc. on the whole thing. So let's tee that up there, Mr. Producer. So let's go. Let's hear Raquel in action.
Who in the world thinks that this crap is essential? I'm a proud resident of Precinct 2 in Harris County. And if you're like me, one of the 1.3 million residents that lives in Precinct 2, we all got this 12-page magazine in the mail a couple days ago. The cost to make one of these gotta be at least $2 to $3 for each magazine. We just had 27 flood mitigation projects get canceled, and we were told directly that they were only going to spend money on essential services. Who in the world thinks that this crap is essential?
Yeah.
When I'm elected, I would never spend our taxpayer money on garbage like this. Please visit www.voteforraquel.com, join the movement, and invest in this campaign today.
Who would ever think this is...
No te metas con Houston, okay? No te metas con Houston, because, when I recorded that and we all got that in the mail, we were still wondering where, people were fighting in the court about this budget deficit, and they've cut some programs, and they've done some one-time creative ways in order to get the budget balanced. But we are constantly being lied to about the lack of, I think, clear transparency about how is our money being spent. And when I got this in the mail, I thought, how much does this cost? This is crazy. I mean, I'm running a campaign right now. It's not cheap to send a 12-page magazine in the mail.
It's super expensive, and that looked glossy to me.
I think some of that money could have gone to a flood mitigation project, or it could have gone to, I don't know, the public safety funding. There's so many things, the Harris Health. But instead, it went to this
ego-driven,
self glorified magazine, and it drives me crazy because, that the current commissioner talks about how, he was a cop for 20 years and blah, 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 but he's not endorsed by the Houston Police Officers Union. I am. So that says a lot, and it's a testament to,
He
what
was
are
a
you
police
doing?
officer for 20 years and didn't get the police officers.
I got the endorsement from the Houston Police Officers Union, and when you speak to police officers and people that even served with him, there's clear disappointment in the leadership because law enforcement, including the current constable there, hasn't had support for years when it came to funding or whatever they need. Just like, the young woman that just spoke about her husband, they don't get support. They've had to fight and fight and fight. And recently, the only reason why they're getting support this year is because it's an election year. But I guarantee you, nothing's going to change. You cannot say that you are pro, safety and pro care about the community when you're the most anti-law enforcement, in my opinion, commissioner that we've ever had. So.
There you go. You know what? You heard it here first. But we got another caller. Is there Elaine there? Elaine, talk to me.
Hi. Good morning.
Is this my mom? Oh, it's
It
my
is your
mom.
mom.
Hi,
Mom, is this Mom? Is this Mom Elaine?
Hey, Mom.
It is. It's Mommy Lane.
Well, let me tell you something, Mom, if you don't mind. First of all, you've raised a hell of a daughter, right? And I'm sure you wake up every day and you just say, God, I'm so proud of her. And I can only, I'm up of that stage where, I have a son that's 33, and I know I look very young in Houston, Harris County, but well, thank you very much, Mom. But, and then of course I have another one that works on Wall Street, and he's been there about 3 or 4 years, and when I see my children, I just see myself in them sometimes, and I'm just so proud of them, and I'm sure that's how you feel.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to say that not only am I so proud of her, but I know that she should be so proud of herself. What Raquel has done and accomplished is all on her own. Of course, I've been there from the beginning,
Yeah, Mom worked with me boots on the ground,
Is that right?
Yeah, she still is in the construction industry.
Mom, do you have a hard hat?
She does.
I do. And Raquel and I we poured foundations at 3 a.m.
Yep.
Wow.
We actually hammered. We did the work. We didn't just stand by.
Well, now I know where you get it. I can hear it in your voice.
She's a boss lady. You do not get on Mom's bad side on the field.
I can hear it. I can hear it. But you keep going. Keep going, Mom.
So what I want to say, so I also have been very active in the community for the last 25 years, and I've always been very vocal about what I believe in. And I've never been a one-party type voter. I'm very against tribal type of behavior. But one thing I know for sure is that I will always support who is the right person and who's going to do the job right. And I just want to make it very clear that I truly feel that Raquel is the best person for this particular job at this very moment. You couldn't find a better person. You couldn't find someone whose words and integrity really come from her heart. I've known this for a long time, but the moment Raquel got up and started a foundation to help a school and took her time out of her own life, and not only that, but then it was Raquel that was like, okay, the whole company's going to come out, we're all going to do this, and she really motivated a lot of people to do things that they really probably wouldn't have done in the past, and has brought a new perspective on how that should be. But as far as politics are concerned, I hope people can see that this should not be tribal, that this should be who is the first person that can make things happen, and who's going to come in with a good, fresh perspective and come in with the hard work. And I know I'm Mom, but I'm telling you, there's no one better than my daughter, Raquel.
That is
Raquel,
thank you, Mom.
Boujourne.
I'm about to. I want to tear up or something.
I love
Come
her.
on, I mean, you know what?
Well,
I love her already too.
She was one of the any kind of dream that I've ever had, or anything that I was like, okay, we're going to do this today. She was there, and I think that's a testament to, yes, I was raised by an incredible woman who was very determined to have a better life. And I think, we want that. And she taught me, like, we're going to teach that same message and spread the love and spread that to the community. And she has been very active as an example of really taking on tough situations where we've seen our community be broken for so long, and just really activate and getting involved in the local level, because so many times we get confused as to who's responsible for some of these issues. And when it comes to, like I said, the property taxes, and when it comes to public safety, public health, these are things that are actually, a major responsibility of Commissioner's Court. So I love you, Mom. Thank you so much for calling. I did not ask her to do that. So
But
thank
I
you.
think it's wonderful. Well, the thing
I
about
love
the thing about it is, first, now we can see where you get it.
Yeah.
Your mom is clearly, persistent, never give up. I mean, you can hear it in her voice. That's where you get it.
And she's redheaded too.
It's
so.
That's how you know those redheads. Yeah. But no, that's how you know. And I think she brings up something which it's hard to be totally what's the right word? Just take a step back because she is your mom. But for her to say, and I totally get the concept of, you built this nonprofit to help people. You're giving back. She mentioned you poured concrete at 3 a.m.
Yep.
She has seen it, and she has seen it. You do it, and she has lived it with you. And I think if there's anything that makes someone, in my view, ready for service, is people who have served and have worked hard. When you look at other candidates, they've never had a job.
Right.
They've never created a job. They've never had to meet a payroll. And you've never had to meet a payroll unless you had to worry about other families and making sure that they had the money to really live and survive. I don't mean you're just dealing with taxpayer money. I'm talking about meet a payroll. And that's what you've done.
Yes. And it's not easy when you talk about making a payroll or being responsible for other people's livelihoods. It is a true testament to have the experience of what it means to sign your name on the front of a check more than the back of one.
That's right.
So it is because of the wonderful people that are working within the organization. A lot of my family worked at the organization, still does. I stepped down and exited from that so I could pursue this, which was, again, one of the craziest things that people say I will ever do. But it means that much to me. And so I feel like if I think of it like, as, again, a woman of faith, what is the right thing to do? And I couldn't sit on the sidelines anymore.
Good for you. I see another caller. Before we go to that caller, it reminds me when we talk about sort of the public trust and public money versus creating wealth and creating and having a revenue stream and being responsible for people. There was a movie called Lethal Weapon. Remember Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover and Joe Pesci? Joe Pesci played like an accountant for like a mob family or something, and then he was arrested, and then he became state's witness. And I'll never forget, and I'm going somewhere, stay with me, that they put Joe Pesci to protect him in a hotel, like a state witness. And then they left him there, and then Danny Glover and Mel Gibson come back like the next day or 2 days later, and all of a sudden they can't find him in the hotel. And then they discover he's in the penthouse.
Yeah.
And so he's in the penthouse. And then they go up there and they're like, well, he's in the penthouse. And then they knock on the door, and there he is in a silk robe. And he had all this, and they said, come on in. He goes, I'm here, and it's all free. And he goes, and here I am. And he had like a silverware that was silver and had a breakfast. And they go, where did you get all this money? He goes, well, I moved to the penthouse because it's taxpayer money. It's free.
Free money.
It's free.
Yeah.
And they said, no, it's not. It's taxpayer money. He goes, come on.
Yeah.
That means it's free.
Yeah.
That's the mindset.
It is.
It's free. And you know what? It's not.
It's not.
It's people in our hard-earned money, and we tax people more and more and more all the time. And if you look at the county, one of the biggest sources of their income comes from property taxes.
Yes.
And what do we know about property values? Even though a lot of us can't sell houses right now, all we know is it keeps going up and up and up every single year.
Yes.
And all for what?
Right.
For that glossy magazine.
Yes.
I mean, my goodness.
Yes.
But I know you want to say, don't leave me yet on your thought. Don't forget it. We had another caller. Let's get that caller. Who was that again? Connie. Is there a Connie there?
Hi, yes. Hi, Gilbert. How are you?
Good.
Happy MLK Day.
We didn't mean to have you waiting, and we've got some more good clips we're going to show you of Raquel, but you have me, Gilbert Garcia, with a tip for me, talk, inspiration, and prayer with Raquel Hernandez Boujourne, who's running for, is it Precinct 2?
Harris County Commissioner, Precinct 2.
Precinct 2.
Yes.
So go with me, Connie. What do you got for Miss Raquel?
Hi, Miss Raquel. Thank you so much, Gilbert. I just want to say that I think it's just so beautiful how she talks about her faith. I think it's so awesome that you are a woman of faith and you believe in God, and all things come from God, right? We're in our positions because He put us there. And so I just think that's just so refreshing. And I just wanted to ask you, like, in what ways has your faith influenced your principles and the decisions behind your business leadership? And also, how do you plan to carry those into your political decision making?
There you go. That's a good one.
So great. Everything in my life has been led through faith. Christian values. I'm a Christian Catholic. And
Amen.
I think that the values are great. I've gotten feedback on that because I feel like people have become, especially in politics, afraid to talk about their faith and being Christian or Catholic or whatever it is. And I think the basis of the values are so important. I mean, it just basically is right from wrong. It's about being a good person. It's about transparency, accountability. It's about caring for other people, giving back. And in every decision that I've ever made in business, I have always started with that. Like, is this going to be not just a decision to make money at the bottom line, but we were always so intentional about the projects that we wanted to go after, and how was that going to make a lasting impact, and how was that going to affect the community that it surrounded. And so I think when anything, if you think about it and pray about it and it's with intention and good purpose, then that's good. And so it's just basics of good versus bad. But it is, I mean, I've gotten attacked online actually for talking about my faith, and people have said, and people have said, why, I don't think you should mix politics with religion. And I said, I don't think it's I'm not forcing anything on anybody. What I'm talking about are the things that I believe. I'm talking about how my faith has helped guide me and made me successful, because everything we have here is borrowed.
That's right.
Money,
That's exactly right.
assets.
You can't wait, take it with you.
Time, health. I mean, everything is borrowed. It's by the grace of God. And one of my favorite sayings is, the will of God will never take you where the grace of God will not protect you. And so this decision to run in politics was definitely a decision of faith first. Everybody was like, don't do it. Politics is such a dirty game. You don't want to get into that. But I was like, you know what? I don't care about the politics. I care about the people. And I'm so tired of the people suffering and struggling. And I'll just keep going back to, you cannot say you care about the poor. You cannot say you care about people, and then you continue to tax them out of their houses and continue to raise those taxes. Taxes have gone up the last 3 years almost 30%.
Come on.
And Bill King actually did a very in-depth analysis to give the percentage of how they did that. And they leveraged the freeze, they leveraged hurricanes, and every single time there's a loophole in the commissioner's court that allows them to go beyond the cap. And so we've seen a 30% increase, and that's not sustainable for anybody. People, including people that own apartment complexes, they also got taxed at 30%. So what happens is the rent goes up too.
Well, I know their income did not go up 30%.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. So those are things that there's no reason, and I'm going to fight for that. I want to fight to lower the taxes. I'm a believer in that if you work hard for your money, you should be able to have control and keep more of your money. And I think that we have really taken advantage in some of the most vulnerable times, such as storms and crises, where people are dealing with so much that we have raised the taxes to a point that it's just not sustainable. And so we have to correct that. We need, I got to get elected in order to make that happen. But I I'm exhausted with watching these people just struggle. It's just not right. It's just wrong. And that's, again, the Christian principles, the Christian values of what's right versus wrong. And it's wrong.
Amen to that. Well, Connie, you got a follow-up?
No, I think
All right.
she sounds amazing, and you have a voter in me.
Thank you.
You wrote that,
Early voting, February 17th, everyone.
That reminds me of Toy Story, where it says, "You got a friend in me.
Yes.
You got a voter in me." Way to go, Connie. We converted you. But thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Bye. Y'all have a great day.
You
Bye-bye.
got it. I did see a Charlotte said something up there. Where's Charlotte? I saw her. Charlotte, was it Garcia? I didn't see it. It was not. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Very good. Thank you for that, Charlotte. Go vote. Let's go back to that. So, Charlotte, we're going to give you that real quick. So, Raquel, give us all the dates, the calendar. When is early vote? Can you still register to vote? And when is election day, et cetera?
Yes.
And of course, you have a primary, right?
Yes.
So you do have a Republican opponent.
Yes.
We don't need to name their anything because I think that you're, in my view, going to get through. But the bottom line is you can't take it for granted. Can you go through the whole timeline?
Yes, so early voting starts February 17th. You can still register to vote. But first day of early voting is February 17th, and then election day is March 3rd. And so we really need... I know we've had so many elections, and I think people also get confused on how many and when or whatever. But yes, we have a Republican primary. The primary for both parties, early voting is February 17th,
Right.
and then March 3rd. So I ask humbly, please, look into my candidacy. But I'm speaking to the truth and I'm speaking to the facts, and I refuse to get involved or in some of this, things that have absolutely no relativity whatsoever as far as the truth of what is happening in our precinct. Some people like to, deflect or try to, the current commissioner has been there for so long and he's doing a great job because, and I say, because why? Tell me.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
And sometimes it isn't so good to be there for so long.
It's not.
And at the end of the day, well, is your life better now?
Exactly. I think that's what it comes down to is we have to wake up and we have to understand, okay, what is it that I'm fighting for? And it's very easy. I want to lower the taxes. I want to finish our flood mitigation projects. I have experience in doing that. Harris Health, by the way, that LBJ hospital they're building, it's already hundreds of millions of dollars over budget.
Wow.
And it's behind on schedule.
Come on.
The ship channel, which is in my precinct, is $100 million. We're over $400 million over budget, and it is years behind schedule.
Come on, that's terrible.
So when you talk about just those two projects, which are massive and make a huge impact to our everyday Harris County resident, I think, it's not right. Why are we $800 million? Where is that? And who's paying for that? We are.
We are.
The taxpayers
Yes.
are paying for that. And so while we're canceling projects, we canceled 27 flood mitigation projects to supplement some of these other major errors, I think that's wrong. And I know, as a matter of fact, if I was in that leadership position and if I was commissioner, that would not happen because every single cent has to be justified. And being a builder, there are things that I can speak to and understand much better than anybody that's currently on the court outside of Commissioner Ramsey. So we need that experience. We need somebody who can bring that to the table. In addition, I want to continue to support our law enforcement, make public safety better. This whole thing with this PR bond and repeat offenders, getting out, and there's something broken in the system which has created a lot of local issues. People don't feel safe the way that they used to feel safe anymore. People are afraid of riding the metro bus for that reason because of what just happened. And I think there's a lot of things that are difficult that we have to talk to and tackle. But I think, again, somebody with the right experience, such as mine, can do it.
Well, if you look at the county judge, I think they've really lost their mission.
They did.
It all goes back to public safety,
Yes.
public health, and flood control.
Yeah.
That's really it. And you're an expert, certainly an expert, on the whole flood control, flood mitigation, as you call it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Tom Ramsey, just so everybody knows. It's because Tom Ramsey, like you, is a professional engineer.
Yes.
And so they understand he's done, big projects just like you have. And so that's why, I think having another engineering voice on that court would be great.
Yeah.
So hold that thought because I want to play another clip, but I'm going to skip forward to the budget one I know she had a human trafficking, because I don't know if we can fit it all in because we're going so fast. And God, it's already, I'm feeling like we're running out of time. We have a Vicky Cruz. Vicky, don't leave me just yet. But there is a budget. It was number 3. Let's play that one. Her clip on the budget.
My name is Raquel Boujourne, and I'm here to say that enough is enough. This isn't just about numbers, this is about lives. A budget is not just math, it's a moral document. The people didn't fail the government, a failure leadership did. We don't have a money problem, we have a management and spending problem. We demand honesty, accountability, and leadership rooted in shared sacrifice and integrity. No true leader asks others to sacrifice what they won't sacrifice themselves. That's not leadership, that's hypocrisy. Let's be clear, a balanced budget should never come at the expense of the public's well-being. We shouldn't be choosing between safety and sanity, or between services and survival. The single parent barely getting by, nor the deputy or officer working 2 jobs should have to bear this budget burden. We didn't arrive here overnight. This is the result of years of misplaced priorities, lack of transparency, and now despite billions in our budget, we're told it's still not enough. And I'm here to say enough is enough. Do better.
Woo! My goodness, that's like a tiger right there. Now that was go back to that. That was you speaking to Commissioner's Court.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
That was, I believe, in September or August of last year.
Okay.
When they were talking about, we were in a $200 million budget deficit, and they were not sure at that time how they were going to balance it. And so, they tried to have a transparent, process with the budget. But in reality, we are still in a deficit, and they did raise the tax rate. We keep coming up with these creative one-time things, but we are headed for a brick wall next year, and it's very scary, and unfortunately it's us who gets to pay for it.
Well, did anybody say anything to any of the commissioners? Did they say like, well, I appreciate that, and because of this, or did they just like say next?
No, they don't listen to anybody that goes there and speaks, and I think that's the problem.
That's one of
the
problems.
problem is they had, I think, one day 100 speakers.
Oh, my
I think that day we had 100 speakers.
And then, of course, our county judge, well, she's never had a job.
Never. That was her first job. So she learned on our dime.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Actually, on our $200 million deficit, not on a dime. But let's keep going. We have a Vicky Cruz on the line. Vicky, are you there?
I am here.
Is this the Vicky Cruz?
This is the Vic.
Hey, Vicky.
Well, you got me, Gilbert Garcia, the tip for me with Raquel. And what do you got for us? We're talking a lot about, first of all, we really highlighted Raquel's entrepreneurial spirit and all the things that she's done and how that ingrained in her from her mom, et cetera. And then we were talking about wasteful spending there at the county. And of course, it's not just the county; it's really lots of government areas. But Vicky, what do you have? We want to give you the floor.
So, well, Gilbert, I have not been on radio with you in a while because I'm now teaching at Milby High School, right?
Oh, no, I did not know that. What are you teaching?
Yeah, I'm teaching entrepreneurship.
Oh, come on. Yay. You are the right person to teach entrepreneurship. Keep going.
I'm still doing Hero, but I've also made a new program called Glow for girls, basically teaching girls their worth. But with that said, I know that you have my Raquel there. And, one thing that's been really big is safety. And Raquel's talked really well about the infrastructure and her, her ideas that she has, the experiences to back it up. But one thing that's really big, just because I'm on my way to the Pasadena police right now for an incident that just happened with an assault. And so I don't want to get into that. But with that said, is what does public safety mean to you beyond policing? And how should the county invest in prevention, mental health, and family stability? And then I have a second question after that, but I'll let you go with this.
That's a real triangle because it's mental health, it's public safety. You're right, and prevention. Go ahead, Raquel, take it.
Public safety is so important, and I think there has actually been recommendations for additional programs that were, for years they had been asking Commissioner's Court to approve, whether that be an additional budget for patrolling or investigations, and for the longest it was no. And we're finally seeing some things change in governance because it is election year, but it's a whole triangle of things that need to fall into place. There is more programs and things as far as training that are actually starting to come to life, I want to say. But I think mental health is also really important. When we talk about the homelessness, chronic homelessness has doubled this last year. A lot of people don't know that statistically, and I'm not a believer in creating bandages. I'm a believer in creating long-term solutions, not short-term, zombie hospitals that are one-night stays where people can come in and out and still be on the street and be a danger to themselves as well as to others. So I think there's a lot of things that are that need improvement, specifically in the Harris Health System, as well as public safety. And we have to listen to the opportunity has been there for a very long time to have conversations with the deputies and the constables and asking them, okay, this is the statistics, this is where we're at, these are the facts. Particularly Precinct 2 is failing. I mean, when you go online and you look at crime and and I'm sorry to have that happen to you, Vicki. I mean, it's actually very common. And so we have to, find solutions long term. What are things that we could do? And it comes with working with those agencies and understanding, okay, where did we fail and what can we do better? And there hasn't been a conversation in that for so long because, again, we have someone who is not, in my opinion, really, really about public safety, which is why the stats are so bad.
Well, hold on real quick. And Vicki, I'm going to give you one more second for another call, but I had to just say this. I got back from Chicago, I took my daughter to see Phantom of the Opera, which is why I have my Phantom shirt right here. And, of course, I first saw it in 1985, and, of course, I just now saw it in 2026. And you know what? It's the same awesome play. And I love my daughter, Juju. I talk about her all the time on the air. And, of course, let me just put in, you know what? You got to still love our Texans. And, we just got to lift them up because it's okay. Things happen, but next year's going to be their year. Vicki, what's your other question? Let's go.
It says, my question is, how will you collaborate with the constables, nonprofits, and community leaders to improve the safety and quality life of our residents?
Let's go.
By not working against them. I mean, the current commissioner didn't even talk to Jerry Garcia for years. He actually ran a whole campaign against him.
Come on.
So you have to be able to have a relationship and respect for these leaders in the public safety and law enforcement in order to be able to get things done. Also working with the organizations such as Houston Police Officers Union and also and MASO and the bail bondsman organizations to really hear the firsthand accounts of what is happening within the departments. And then really listening, and that's what a true leader does, is we listen. We listen more than we talk, and then we create an action plan.
Amen to
that. What about those officials who do not share your political views?
I think, though, we share the commonality of we love people and we deserve better. And so I too many times there's this rhetoric of, oh, well, those people must be bad because of I'm Republican, right? I've got that a lot. I'm Republican and I'm Latina. But again, you can't say that you care about the poor if you continue to tax them out of their houses. You can't say that you care about the hungry and then you continue to take those tax money to create problems to go back create programs for them to go back and use that money. Right. So it's like this cycle that we've gotten into, especially here at the county. Some of these things and nonprofits are actually not effective in what they do. So I think that's another thing that we really need to take a look at.
I'm going to intervene. Vicki, I'm going to have to sign off on you. I apologize because we're out of time. But I wanted to say I know we had another call there. I don't think we're going to get to you, Judith. I know you're there. I hope you call again. I'm so very sorry because guess what? We're out of time.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you believe an hour went like that?
Yes.
That's how you know you had fun. I want to make sure I give you the last 2 or 3 minutes because that's all you got. You look in that camera and you tell everybody why you should be the next county commissioner, precinct 2. And then, of course, I want to have you back because I feel like we didn't even cover everything I wanted to cover. Can I have you back?
100%
Will you come again?
back. I will
Junior,
definitely come
I know
back.
your staff is here. Junior, I want to mean it. Okay, you got to come back. Let's go. You got the floor.
Okay, so 16-year builder in construction. I bring that wealth of experience, did build one of the most awesome organizations, decided to step down from that after witnessing a child disappear from the 77023 zip code and wanted to activate because we just frankly deserve better. I have signed my name more on the front of the check than on the back of them, and I think that resumes and actions and actually look into my resume, look into my candidacy. I dare you to go do that, and I will tell you that I'm the candidate that's going to bring the experience, and not only that, but who has the experience in actually getting it done. As far as building bridges, roads, schools, I mean, that's what the Commissioner's Court does. We need to get the hospital delivered. We need to get that ship channel done. All of our projects should be managed better, but I bring that experience, and there's no other candidate that, not only that, but I'm vested. I got my own skin in this game.
There you go. Give me 20 seconds. Website, your fundraising, how can people donate? Tell me everything.
I'm hosting a fundraiser event at Tommy's in the Bay Area this Thursday at 6 p.m. All are welcome. Please show up. In addition, please visit our website, voteforraquel.com, vote4raquel.com. You can find out more information about my candidacy there. And again, don't forget to vote. We also need your votes. February 17th is early voting. Election day is March 3rd. That's for the primary, and then the general will be this upcoming November. So I'm super excited and grateful to you for having me. Gilbert, I think you're an amazing person, and thank you so much for everything that you do for our community. It's a better place because of what you're doing. So thank you.
That's kind of you. I'm hugging you right now.
I know.
But bottom line, come back. I want you back.
I'll be
Houston,
back.
Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia with a tip for me saying, we'll see you next time. All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. We're going to now be on television. We will air every Saturday on Comcast 17, AT&T Channel 99, Phonoscope Channel 96, Suddenlink 99, and also hmstv.org. Every new episode every Saturday at 7 p.m. And follow me on social media. See you then.